I'm Adam Eric Junkrosky, and I'll be walking you through this short course on the basics of AI, that's artificial intelligence, and ML, or machine learning. The idea of artificial intelligence is far older than you might think. I won't bore you with a date-by-date history, but it's worth a mention that Greek myth referenced the concept of thinking, feeling automatons built by humans. These stories gave rise to many more throughout the years, right up through modern times, with tales like Metropolis, Terminator, and yes, even a movie called AI. True, it's taken a few thousand years for science to get even close to this grand idea, but that once distant dream is now possibly within just a few decades of becoming a reality. For now, the definition of AI is somewhat malleable and can change markedly depending on who you ask. At its most basic, however, there's reasonably round agreement that artificial intelligence is characterized by the following traits. First, it mimics human decision-making with varying degrees of complexity. Second, its performance improves through repeated use. Third, it requires data input, whether fed to it directly or AI sought. Fourth, it automates a task or tasks usually requiring a human. As I mentioned before, AI can be slippery to define. As it advances, researchers adjust what characterizes it. But a very good way to think of it is this: artificial intelligence can learn from experience and adapt to new information, performing a task or tasks usually requiring a human. Now, if your head is already spinning a little, that's okay. Artificial intelligence isn't a monolithic thing. It's expressed in different applications and with greatly differing use cases and complexity. That said, you probably already use AI. If you've ever used Apple's Siri or Amazon's Alexa, or if you used a spell check or grammar check on your computer, AI is already a part of everyday life, and as it improves, it will only be used more heavily. Facial recognition, voice recognition, data categorization, chatbots, all of these are expressions of AI. Now, if you've been paying close attention so far, you might have noticed I already used the word learn. It's here that many people get tripped up when understanding AI and machine learning and the differences between the two. Machine learning, or ML, is a kind of artificial intelligence. Its sole focus, however, isn't on pattern recognition or task execution. Instead, machine learning focuses on using outcomes to establish best practice, as well as make predictions about outcomes from future inputs. As a subset of AI, machine learning is becoming more and more vital in AI application. Machine learning can be characterized by these following traits. First, it accepts defined data types, analyzes and stores them for reference. Second, it can call on past assimilated data and outcomes to accurately assess, categorize, and act upon new data. Third, it improves with each transaction. Fourth, it recognizes its own limitations and flags inputs it can't handle on its own. And finally, it can either self-correct or accept human assistance in adjusting its analyses. When you remove machine learning from artificial intelligence, you're left with a more basic type of technological automation known as robotic process automation, or RPA. RPA executes instructions in a very straightforward way and is most useful for tasks in which inputs are predictable and triggers prescribed actions. RPA doesn't need to make inferences about information it receives because that information will always fall into a small handful of possible inputs, which it's been programmed to recognize and respond to in a static way. Artificial intelligence isn't a topic you can easily become an expert in overnight, and what you've learned here very much just scratches the surface.